move here.
We couldn't afford to live in the old house anymore. Plus, the new story I'm writing is here.
Is the story a good one this time?
I'm gonna write the best book that anybody's ever read.
Today's featured review is for Sinister, and Sinister stars Ethan Hawke. And the plot is about Ethan Hawke's character, who is a famous author, kinda in the same reign of Stephen King, kind of, where he writes about these serial murders, and he forces his family to move into this house where a really big murder scene occurred. While packing out, he goes into his attic and he discovers a box of home movies on Super 8 serials. He begins to watch these Super 8 serials and begins to try to unravel the story of these serial murders to create his new story, which will revive his fame and fortune which he had in his prime years prior. As of the last 3 or 4 years, horror movies for the most part have been in big doo-doo. Insidious was a great way to get back on track with the horror genre, but this movie freaked the living shit out of me. Normally I have a light over here to project more light for my reviews, which is down the hallway from my room. I haven't walked down my room since I got into my house. I think that speaks volumes for what this movie has done to me. The acting overall was actually surprisingly great for a horror movie like this, but Ethan Hawke truly carries the movie, and I really do commend Ethan Hawke for complimenting a beautifully written character who has real flaws and feels like an actual person. What's so great about this movie is that it builds tension. It's a very slow burn for the most part. The first 2 acts of the movie are establishing Ethan Hawke, his family, what he's trying to accomplish. The slow burn goes through the movie and you become emotionally invested in his family, and then there's no real scares that occur until like a halfway point in the movie, or a little bit past the halfway point. And the scares that start to happen are so effective that they just leave you shaking. One of the best aspects of this film are the Super 8 films that Ethan Hawke's character watches. They're very intriguing, terrifying, and creepy. Once you see one of the tapes, you kind of become like Ethan Hawke's character. You start to develop a similar mindset to Ethan Hawke's character and you go, oh my god, that was so terrifying. Let's see the next tape. Like I said before, the first scare doesn't really occur until the halfway point in the movie, and in the scene after that, there's a whole sequence of Ethan Hawke walking around the house, and there's something going on that we are fully aware of, but he is not. And I swear to God, this freaking scene, I keep looking back behind me because there's one image that's burnt in my head that I won't be able to get out for months or even years. And a lot of the framing was very out of focus and in really weird areas where you would look off to another side where characters are not and think that something's going to happen, but nothing would happen. But it would keep building up. This movie just keeps building up, and then it just hits you in the face. Another aspect of this movie that I loved is that they created this mythology that if they wanted to, they can continue. I'd rather they just keep this a standalone movie, but if they wanted to, they can expand upon a mythology. They created a really awesome mythology. And this character, this antagonist, this entity, Bagul, Mr. Boogie, definitely very disturbing. You don't see him that much in this movie, but when you do, you literally just go, you go blah. Even though the demon itself, Bagul, reminded me of a Slipknot band member in particular, it didn't take away from it. It didn't take away from his stature and just the way he appears, because I think he is going to be an iconic character down the road. The only flaws I have with this film are that towards the end it gets predictable, but even though it's predictable, it was still terrifying how everything and how the mystery unraveled. For most of this movie, the characters, Ethan Hawke in particular, because you're going through his eyes the whole time, you're going through his perspective, he's walking around in darkness, and he never once turns on a switch. Maybe there was a lack of light switches in their household, but it's just like, turn a light on, man. But overall, Sinister was, aside from Insidious last year, the creepiest horror film that I have seen since The Grudge and Ring days, which was almost 10 years ago now. This movie will leave burning images in your head. It will leave you looking around in paranoia and fear. Given how paranoid I am right now and how genuinely frightened I am for my slumber, I'm going to give Sinister 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was that good. To paraphrase what a character said in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, I'm putting this movie on a pedestal, but I truly believe that this movie will be a horror classic because we've been in so much shit in the horror genre that when movies like this come along, you just appreciate it that much more. And I'm still shaking. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't do this anymore. If you've seen Sinister, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video, and also look at my Facebook and Twitter accounts on my channel. I'm John from MaffmanJones Reviews. See you next time.